Good morning, Year 2, and welcome to a brand new week of learning. We're going to start off this morning with our reading lesson, and we're going to carry on reading Flat Stanley. So I'm going to share my screen now, and let's have a go at finding out what happens next. So, Monday, we're carrying on with our text, Flat Stanley, and our author is Jeff Brown. Let's carry on reading about him. Today we're going to be carrying on with doing retrieval as our skill that we're learning in reading. We're going to answer questions by picking up the answers from the text. Just like a golden retriever, like Stevie, we're running in, we're finding the answers and we're taking them out. We're retrieving them, we're picking them up and they're there for our taking. We're going to be using where, who, what, when and why questions. And we're also going to be looking at true or false and ticking the right answer as well today. So our steps to success. We're going to read the question, read what we've got to do. We're going to find the key words from that question. We're going to find the key words from our text. We're going to read around the key words to find our answer and then write our answer down. Another thing we'll probably do is check which of these questions, where, who, what, when or why we're doing, and that will help us know what our answer is going to be. For example, if we've got a who question, what will our answer be? If we've got a when question, what will our answer be? So a who question, it's going to be a person, isn't it? Or a character, somebody. Okay, if it's a when question, it's going to be a time. So 5 o'clock or after dinner or when he got home. It's a kind of a time, when something happens, a time. Okay, why, we're going to be given a reason. What, probably an object or a thing or a feeling, and where is a place. So we're going to use those key question words to work out what our answer is going to be. Okay, let's carry on. So, retrieve. Who can remember what it means? Talk, have a little think, 10 seconds, pause if you want to. What does retrieve mean? So, retrieve means you demonstrate an understanding of the text. You can answer questions about the main points, things like who were the characters, where the action was taking place, how the problem was solved, why someone felt something. Okay, these are all examples of retrieval questions. You need to go and retrieve, you go into the text and you get the answer and you bring it out. Just like we spoke about earlier with Stevie, you're going in, you're picking up the answer, you're taking it out. Okay, fantastic. So we've got an example retrieval question here. This is a who one. So it's who, that's what we spoke about earlier. We're going to be looking for the name of the character. So pause your screen and have a go at reading the first part of this text for me today. Okay, and now you've unpaused it, let's look at our key question. Let's read it together. Who was snoring? So we know it's a who. So we know that it's a character or a name. Pause the screen. What will my key words be from this question? Okay, now my key word is snoring. So I'm going to circle snoring in my question. And then I'm going to find it, because that was my step to success. I'm now going to find it in the text, because that will give me a clue of where I can read. Okay, so there's snoring as well. So I found those two in the text. Now, from this, I know that probably this part isn't going to tell me too much about, oh, there's snore. So that's another version of snoring, so I'm going to use that. So I know that probably my answer is around here. So pause the screen and see if you can find the answer of who was snoring. Okay, well done. Now I'm going to read it and I'm going to see if I can find out. So the source of the snoring was the wicked wolf, sleeping soundly after eating his prey. So who was snoring? My answer is the wolf. And I'm going to write this perfectly here. The wolf. Checking my spelling of wolf using the text to help me. I could put the wicked wolf, but the wolf will do. Okay. When was he snoring then? So we know the wolf was snoring. When was he snoring? So let's read around now and find when, what time, what had happened that made him, that was when he was snoring. Pause if you need to. Okay, let's read again. The source of the snoring was the wicked wolf sleeping soundly after eating his prey. So when he was eating was after eating his prey. Where was he snoring? Pause the screen. What place is it? Okay, So I'm going to read it again. I'm going to read it this time from the beginning and see if there's any other clues in this bit. The source of the, I'm going to read it from here. The source of the snoring was the wicked wolf sleeping soundly after eating his prey. Doesn't tell me where, doesn't tell me a place. So I'm going to start from the beginning and see if this bit helps me. All was quiet in the woods, apart from a stuttering snore. Oh, the woods. The place is the woods. He was snoring in the woods. Well done if you got all of those ones right. Right, let's move on to Flat Stanley today. So let's carry on with our story so far. I have an idea, Stanley said. He took the laces out of his shoe and an extra pair out of his pocket and tied them all together to make one long lace. Then he tied one end of that to the back of his belt and gave the other end to his mother. Lower me, he said, and I will look for the ring. So now if you imagine he's on the end of a long string, one end his mother's got, one end he's got, and she's going to lower him to down that drain to see if she can get the ring. What does lower mean? What does lower mean? Pause if you need to. So lower means going down, okay? Lower. If we're going for a lower number, it means our numbers are going down. If we're going lower height, it means it's not as far up, so we're going downwards, downwards. Lower me, he said, and I will look for the ring. Thank you, Stanley, Mrs. Lambchop said. She lowered him between the bars and moved him carefully up and down, so going up and down, and from side to side, that he could search the whole floor of the shaft. What's the shaft? Do you know what the shaft is? Can I have a duck talk? Okay, it's basically the drain, okay? The bottom of the drain where it all is, and he can have a look and he can search and see if he can find that ring. Two policemen came by and stared at Mrs. Lambchop as she stood holding the long lace that ran down through the grating. Does anyone know what the grating is? Pause if you need to. So the grating are like the bars that go across the drain, and then down underneath we've got the shaft, okay? She pretended not to notice them. What does pretend mean? And what does notice mean? What does that mean if she's pretending not to notice them? Okay, so pretending means that you do know it's there, you do know something, but you're make believing, you're acting like you don't know. She's make believing, she's doing a fictional way. She's not actually doing something. And notice means to look at them and clock something's happened and see that something's happened. So she's pretending. So she does know the policemen are there, but she's trying to make out that she doesn't know they're there. She hasn't seen them. She doesn't know what they're doing. So she's pretending not to notice them. Okay, right, that was really good, wasn't it? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back onto the other screen. So you can pause and you can read if you need to. And then I'm going to go back onto this screen, and if you need to pause, if you need to, you can do that as well. Okay, fantastic. Right, now we are ready to move on to today's questions, which again, you can pause to help you with. So our questions today are, what two things did Stanley use to make the rope? How did Stanley move as he looked around? Who came by and saw Stanley and Mrs. Lambchop? What did Mrs. Lambchop do when she saw the police? What do you think the police will say to Mrs. Lambchop? Why do you think they were staring at Mrs. Lambchop? So we're going to go through each question. You're going to pause, have a go at doing it, and then we'll go through the answers together. Don't skip ahead, really pause them and have a go. So the first two things. What two things did Stanley use to make the rope? Pause, off you go. Okay, right, so I'm going to go through my steps of success. What are my key words in this question? So I'm looking for Stanley, and I'm looking for rope, and I'm going to be looking for two things that he used to make the rope. So let's go back to our text. Oh, okay, so it's going to be around here. I can't find, I can find Stanley. I haven't got rope. I can see things like tied, which I know is what he did to make his rope. Okay, So he took the laces out of his shoes and an extra pair out of his pocket and tied them all together to make one long lace. So what two things did he use to make the rope? He made the lace. Fantastic. If you got that right, give yourself a tick. How did Stanley move as he looked around? So my keywords this time are going to be Stanley, and it's going to be move, and it's going to be looked around, because we're looking at when he looked around, and how will be like a method, a way. So how did you run? Quickly. How did you cry? Sadly. So let's go back. So it was this bit when he was moving. Well, there's moved, so that's a good one to use. Okay, I'm going to read. She lowered him between the bars and moved him carefully up and down and from side to side. So up and down and from side to side. If you got that one right, fantastic. Well done. Right, next one. Who came by and saw Stanley and Mrs. Lambchop? Pause it and have a go. Okay, let's have a little look. We're looking for Stanley and Mrs. Lambchop. So there's Mrs. Lambchop. There's Mrs. Lambchop. And there's Stanley. Also, I'm looking for another character. So two policemen came by and stared at Mrs. Lambchop, because I know it's who, so it's going to be a character. So it's going to be Mrs. Lambchop. So let's go back here and let's go on to the answer. So it'll be the two policemen that came by and saw Stanley and Mrs. Lambchop. Not Mrs. Lambchop, but the two policemen. What did Mrs. Lambchop do when she saw the police? Pause, have a go. Okay, and what do we think the answer is? Who can remember? So let's go back to this bit. So two policemen came by, it's going to be in this bit. As she stood holding the long lace that ran down through the grating, she pretended not to notice them. So that's what she did. She pretended not to notice them. And what do you think the police will say to Mrs. Lambchop? And why do you think they were staring at Mrs. Lambchop? I want you to have a go at those ones now. So pause the screen and have a go. Okay, so what do you think they're going to say to her? What are you doing? What are you doing down there? What's going on? They're going to think she's a little bit mad if she's dangling her son down the drain. And they were staring at her because it was quite an odd thing to do. Probably never seen anyone dangling somebody that's flat down between in the grating and down into the drain. Okay, so if you got those answers right, fantastic, well done. Now a little extension for you this morning to have a go at is to have a go at writing a short story that's going to be a little bit similar to this one about the lost ring. Remember your full stops, capital letters, adjectives and conjunctions, but start off with the lost ring and talk about where it was lost, who lost it, how did they get it back. Think about the Flat Stanley story and how you could adapt it. Have fun, and I'll see you later. Bye.